studies at least, start to want to have kids? Well, it's because the numbers game. They're not all going to be superstars. They're not all going to be doing those things. Settle up, double up your finances at the pay that you're at, and it's mechanically an advantage inside of there. Now, Cole, already beat up by that system, run over and tore up, is going to say that she was having these feelings at 16 to want to have kids at that point in time, but the surgeries and the testosterone had at that point in time destroyed her, and a tragic, heart wrenching to a certain degree when you know you would just love to rip somebody's head off and just go at it for these reasons, but you can't really do anything about it now. Now we have to play bar at the bar for a situation different, which was more work. Now, you're asking more people to get involved when you were willing to suicide somebody. Well, you were willing to play those reverse models inside of the situation to not only make the parents pay for the psychological studies, but also pay for the surgeries and all these other systems inside of there. And honestly, it's destroying this country from the base. All right, so I'm kind of running out of time here. I had a lot more to it, and I'm sorry about the speed in which I would love to break this down much more elaborately and actually go through more case studies to give you better parallels inside of the situation. But yeah, I mean, trying to track some of these case studies in psychology is a very difficult field. An OP brief all on its own. Catch you on the next one.
Okay, so it's at that note that I'll jump back into this now. Just to cover, I messed it up there as far as my timelines, my windows. But I'm not about to redo this. It was pretty good for me. There's certainly not the book works or something that I would go into, or the level of construction I would get into to do something like this. JP covered a lot of the work. She worked great for the case study, and seriously, I hope that I played a good parallel inside of here for my case study, is what it is. Um, you never know. You got to put that stuff out there before you'll ever get it. And don't be afraid of your third degree burns, especially if you're a little bit older. I mean, yeah, that's a great prime number to consider when you're kids. Don't try to mess that up. Do the better standard models inside of here. But eventually you get a little bit older, and it's like you'll get that phase differential. Don't be trying to get that do if you ain't do that do yet. You might not have put into the situation. It'll probably come off tone and frequency, not just the number of points that you're bringing back up there, the model in which you're saying it, or potentially the number of time an incident may have come up, whether good or bad inside of here. I know a psychologist is going to beat me up. That's why I said the cat, JP. Inside of here about what that is, and right hand rule on age. Usually at the lodge in that 36 to 54 category, that it's just a little easier to go that way. But there's going to be standard models. You're going to get in a fight with some gray in the lodge, or in the mill, or in the military, or psychological students, or even ideologists, transgenders, amongst each other. That's a real common thing. Did you graph the subject? I know you're looking right at it, but go back to that tone and frequency statement I said a second ago. Do you continually have these problems in all groups that you're with? Is it something that is a positive negative? It's a charge thing in math. Looks like a plus symbol with a line underneath it. And if you know what you're doing with the math on something like that, you could begin to start breaking that down. But don't bother breaking down those full equations, those quadruple integrals on side of a situation, when honestly all math, every single one, it doesn't matter, fly fishing, rifle qualification, dating, it's graphable, there's people that do the job, would actually break down the standard model differently. They would say, well, first there's an integral, then there's different combinations of letters and systems that go with that, and then there's a double integral, which is potentially multiple states of these things, which is double multiple times. But here time is that crypto base that it's a psychological understanding, clicks and ticks of the brain, comparatively to the a direct monetary correlation of the NP. Yes, it is a factor. If inside of there we looked at those standards and said, obviously fly fishing is a very good example. This is finesse over force. Trying to catch a fish by hand is fairly difficult. So we're gonna have to manipulate this a little bit. And you're at this river with a fly fishing system like this, in a town where the almanac changes the mayfly just a little bit different, or realistically why that store's waddler wing or wally wing hatching hatchmaster is the one that really benefits here. Maybe they're just more used to that one in the water, and or the color that this pattern old schooler been putting down on that water for so long is really the thing that makes the difference. And we have to notate those systems and recognize those things, not just in the square root of -1, but against it. Why there would be, I noticed that mathematically there's an area, the square of this thing, and most commonly as a Cepheid variable. Not to say that there's not positives, but you would still say to those positives, somebody couldn't do this part, and this part, or amongst the timeline. If you put them parallel with each other, maybe not directly, but at least in case studies A and B, and however you orientate them, that we are looking for the outliers. We're looking for that -1. Not because positive ones aren't a great study, but again, in inequality, students don't know anything. Mathematically, psychology, home ec, whatever, that home ec could be a business of baking or food substance or food systems. Inside of there, if you didn't know how to bake a cake, right, then the PDA and sexual harassment skyrockets in there because you don't know out there beating the batter, right? All right, so catch you on the next one.